Hello and welcome to Inspired to Taste. I'm Liz Joy, and today I'll be making a luxury shoebox cake to complement a chocolate dragon-inspired shoe design I just finished up. I wanted this cake to fully coordinate with my chocolate shoe, so decided on dragon fruit flavor for most of the layers, starting with a dragon fruit genoise sponge. You can find all the recipes I used in the description below. When planning cakes, I always think it's great to add a crunchy layer for additional texture, so I'm starting with a base of cocoa pate sablé and coating it with a thin layer of dragon fruit Italian meringue buttercream. This color is all from the dragon fruit, no food coloring. How pretty is that? Then comes a layer of the genoise, topped with dragon fruit syrup. Then a nice thick layer of buttercream. Another sheet of genoise, coated in the dragon fruit syrup, more buttercream, and a final layer of genoise, which I coated on the bottom with dragon fruit syrup. I'm using the remainder of my buttercream to coat the whole cake. Then I'm adding dark chocolate ganache as the final layer. I don't personally have any problems with using fondant, but if possible, I prefer not to add too much to cakes. So I thought I'd try to do this one mostly with ganache. To create as smooth a surface as possible, after coating the cake, I chilled it in the fridge, then I'm going over it just a couple more times with a heated scraper. I'm using a little bit of chocolate fondant to create the edge of the lid, rolling it fairly thin, cutting out strips, and then allowing them to dry for a bit. I'm using ganache as glue to attach the strips. Making sure they're attached as smoothly as possible and are flush with the top of the cake. Then I'm cutting the corners to a 45-degree angle and attaching the rest of the lid edges. If you're enjoying this video, I hope you'll consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. Please feel free to leave a comment too. And finally, filling any gaps with additional ganache to make sure it's all seamless. Time to paint! I'll be using a variety of chocolate-friendly food coloring paints for this design. I almost always use poppy paints as a base color because they're pretty opaque and dry really fast, making them great for layering. When covering large surfaces like this, I almost always lay out all my base colors using a makeup sponge. It's nice and soft, blends well, and can cover a lot of area fairly quickly. Then I'm painting on some very loose lines to represent abstract flames. And just continuing that look on the sides, making sure to create contrast between the edge of the lid and the sides of the box. I want my logo to be gold, but it'll show up much better if I paint that on top of a white base. So I'm using white poppy paint to create a clean canvas for myself. Then I'm painting on top of that with Bakel Gold. And finally, I'm creating a box label out of fondant, using a projector and edible markers from Drip Color to draw on all the details. And attaching it with a bit of edible glue. Let's take one final look at this stylish cake and then dig in.
3, 2, 1.
I just love it so much. I am so happy with how this turned out. Click or tap to learn how to create the chocolate shoe that inspired this cake.